Hey guys, what's going on? Hope you're all doing well. It's Wednesday, 5:08. Just got out. Pretty, kind of honestly like a slow day at the office. Didn't really have too much to do, and all the stuff that I had to do didn't really take that long or was like that difficult. So yeah, day went kind of slow, but again, it's not a bad thing at all. If you pay attention to the weather, at least where I am, it's very nice out today. It was like almost like 80 degrees, which is kind of crazy for it being like, November now. But, I'll take it. A little weird, but I'll take it. So yeah, that was kind of nice too. It's still dark. So I'll probably have to turn the light on. That'll be like the new norm, I guess, for the time being. Be a little dark. I definitely prefer to at least, have it be light out, or to at least catch a sunset, but it's not how it's working out right now, so I'm not going to fret too much about it. I can see the end of it, so that's cool. But it is at least kind of nice seeing everything around me in a new kind of lens in a way. So yeah, all's good over here. Any other updates? Yeah, so worked from home yesterday, hence you didn't get a video. So today, Wednesday, in the office, so you're getting a video today, and tomorrow I'll be in the office too, so you'll get the third video of the week then. And then that's it for the week. I'll be working home Friday, and then I have yet to make plans for this weekend, so I'm not going to bore you with all the details as to, what I'm doing. But yeah, I think we're pretty good with updates. So we'll see how traffic is, how long I'll be yapping along for, but and it didn't really. I started thinking about what I would talk to you guys today about. You can see me right so far. I woke up early and went to the gym this morning, and then on my way home from the gym, I was already kind of thinking about what I could be talking to you guys about, and it really didn't take me too long to realize that we're going through some. I don't really know how to describe it, but we're going through some unique times in the United States right now with all like the presidential election stuff going on. I figured that I really hate to bring up topics like politics and religion and very kind of sensitive topics nowadays, but I figured that again, relaying back to some previous videos, why not? I'm not gonna die if I talk about and say politics, or if I catch some heat for something I say, then maybe I catch some heat. But again, this is kind of unique, and be it pretty important times right now that we're in as a country. So I figured that it would be a good topic of discussion for today's video. And so I guess I want to first start off by saying that yes, while I did say the topic of this video would be politics, I'm not into politics. I'm not interested. I'm not really knowledgeable. I don't know, say what you want, but I didn't vote. I'm not ready. I didn't even register to vote. So I don't know if you want to call that laziness or just uninterest or whatever you want to call it. But that's kind of me and where my head's at, and so just so you know, no affiliation, literally I'm freaking Switzerland with all this, just totally neutral. I just kind of observe everything from a neutral standpoint, no bias anywhere, just look at it kind of from the outside, from a blank slate, if you kind of want to look at it like that. yeah, I kind of see, I don't really get into the details. I kind of just see everything from afar, again, just because I don't know the details. Like, again, like I'm not in, like I don't know everything. I'm not interested in knowing everything. It's just not my thing. But yeah, even with the position that I'm in, we're into some unique and important times, and I think they're worthy to talk about, in say one of these videos. And I guess the first thing that I started thinking about today that I want to talk about in these videos is that a big reason why I say like I'm not interested and I don't follow politics and all that stuff is because at least the way that it is right now, like I don't like it. It doesn't resonate well with me, and I'll explain that a little bit. I don't know if you can hear this motorcycle in front of me. Hopefully it's not too loud, doesn't get in the way, but yeah, I'm really just not interested, and frankly it's because I don't like the way that it is, like everything like about politics and surrounding politics right now is. And kind of what I mean by that is that, like, again, like I don't watch the news, I don't read the newspaper, or like I don't follow whatever's going on in the media. Like it's all just kind of window dressing to me. Like it's there, like it really doesn't mean anything to me. Like I don't know, like I don't want to go too deep into it, but I don't follow all that stuff. But and the reason being is because I feel like the way that, like, say, politics and the media and the news and literally everything, surrounding that, like, it's all set up to kind of, like, pit us against each other, and kind of make us fall into the trap of thinking that, we're all enemies with each other, and anyone that doesn't see everything the way you do and believe everything that you believe and agree with you on whatever, like anyone who doesn't do that is like automatically like your enemy, and you should despise them and all that stuff, like not support them, not help them, like they're your enemy, like go against them, and I don't know, I don't like that. Again, it could not be true at all. Like, what do I know? But that's kind of just the vibe that I get from it as someone, I guess, looking in from the outside. What else? See, I just feel like I think it's really important to remember that we all are people at the end of the day, and we all have our own, beliefs, opinion, values, and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's really good to embrace, the difference between all of us, and to realize that, we can learn so much from each other rather than, just like bickering and arguing and not seeing the other point of view, or the other perspective, or the other angle to certain things. Like, I think we really kind of just put ourselves into a corner by, not doing that stuff, by being very closed-minded and argumentative and very hateful and all that stuff towards each other. I think people forget that, again, you can learn so much from, having a conversation and looking into the other side. And really, like, if you can't agree on anything, which to me is highly unlikely, but if you really can't learn anything from each other and shift your viewpoint in the slightest, then you can always just agree to disagree. Like, you don't have, you can always, like, you know what I mean? Like, no one has to come out the other end like a winner with the other person forced to buy into their way of thinking. Like, you can always just agree to disagree. Like, it's perfectly okay. Like, it's what makes us human. Like, again, it's just crazy to to kind of like imagine and see the world where everyone thinks exactly the same way. Everyone has the same like opinions, beliefs, values, like literally every process of the way of thinking of every person on this earth. If it were all the same, like that, it wouldn't want to be a world that I would choose to live in, you know? Like, I think it's not only good, but it's kind of necessary that, you know, we have differing thoughts and, again, beliefs, values, opinions, and all that stuff. I really do think that it's a strength that things are that way. And right now, with the way everything is set up and the way that we're kind of almost like governed in a way, like it feels like it's a bad thing, you know? Everyone should think and feel exactly the same way about everything. But no, I think it should be the exact opposite, because diversity in thought and diversity in everything is very important. And again, it's a thing that makes us human and makes humanity, and it's one of our biggest strengths that we're not playing into enough. But anyways, let me try to get back on the path I was previously thinking about. But yeah, and it's kind of cool because I know I've been thinking these thoughts, and I know it's, again, especially because of the times that we're in. I hope you can hear me, but especially because of the times that we're in. You know, I've been hearing more and more of like the same kind of message that I'm giving out from other people, which is always cool. It means that, you know, again, I'm not alone in the way I'm thinking, that there are other people that share the same thoughts that I have, which again is always cool. It just shows that we're human. But yeah, so I guess that really what I'm trying to say is that's one reason why I don't really follow politics and what I believe could be better with the whole system, if you want to call it that. And I think it's also really important to realize the impact that this upcoming president, again, I'm not following, so I really don't know like who's winning, like what's going to happen. I don't know. It's not my thing. I'm not interested in it. But I think what is important to note is how exactly our lives will be impacted, like individually, by whoever becomes the next president. And the answer is like we're gonna be just fine. Like no matter who becomes president, like no matter what happens, like we're all, like us and our loved ones, our family, our friends, like we're all gonna be just fine, you know? Like no, like we're not gonna die. Like it's maybe not the person that we voted for or maybe wanted to be president, but like, you know, like so what? So what? We have to deal with it for 4 years, and then, you know, someone else will be there, and like everything's gonna be just fine too. Like no one's gonna die. Like it's not that big of a deal. It's not that deep. So like, you know, don't worry too much about it. Like it's not like you know, say here in America, like again, the presidency is like what, 4 years. I know that, but it's not like we're in England and like it's getting like a new king or a new queen, and they're gonna be, you know, our ruler and our leader pretty much like until they're physically unable or until their death or something. Like, you know, the president's the president for 4 years. That's the way it stands, and you know, and things can always change from there. So like, you know, don't worry too much about like whoever becomes president, because really like it's really not gonna like affect your day-to-day life and really your overall well-being as, you know, an individual and as a person, as a human, all that much. Like you're gonna be just fine. It's really not that deep. And I know I've been hearing it like a lot around the office, especially today, you know, with all this like election stuff going on. Like you can't help but overhear all like the politics stuff and whatnot. And one thing I overheard that I honestly think is a good point is that if anything, you shouldn't really worry about, you know, who the like president is, you know, you should worry about who's like the principal of the school and the mayor of, you know, your town or your city, or, you know, like the I don't know, like your governor, like the more local office is kind of what I'm trying to say. And And I think that's a good point because, like I just mentioned, the president isn't the one that's going to, ultimately be controlling and changing your day-to-day life. It's really like, the people who run the school that, say, like you or your kids go to, or the person who runs the town where you have a house, or the town where you live, or it's more that kind of stuff that ultimately decides what your day-to-day life is going to be for the next couple of years. So I just want to mention that I thought that was a good point to make in the midst of all this election and presidency stuff. And I think another thing that I want to mention, and again, this is as organized as a video as I can kind of make it. Again, like I'm not into all this politics stuff. Like I'm not, say, like knowledgeable in all this stuff, if you couldn't tell already. But not trying to make it too structured, just trying to give like my 2 cents out, whenever they pop into my brain. Again, because I think that this whole just overall topic is of course unique and very important, and we can learn a lot about it and learn a lot from it. Of course, with the right attitude and the right mindset. But I think another thing that I've been thinking about recently is kind of going back to the beginning, where it feels like, the way that the media is set up, and say the news channels and the political parties, it feels like it's set up to pit us against one another. And that's not really something that sits right with me. And I don't want to go too deep into that again because I feel like I already covered it. But we should realize that we're all people, and we're all good people at that. At the end of the day, we're all good, loving people. We're all neighbors, and we should all love our neighbors, and realize that we're more than just individuals or political parties. We are a whole. We are one. Like, we are a society. We are humanity. Like, we are just one. And it just feels like there's too much hatred being harbored because of all this stuff, especially now going on. And again, I feel like it should be the exact opposite. We should find the similarities between each other that we all share, deep down at the core, and learn from each other, and especially the people that we don't necessarily see eye to eye with, and really just we should just love each other. And I think I have a feeling, this might be a little controversial to say, but I have a feeling that or at least I get the vibe that with the way that, again, the media and the political parties and the news channels and all that stuff is set up, but I feel like they pit us against each other kind of knowingly, like on purpose. Like they know exactly what they're doing. And I think the reason is because, by pitting us against each other and having us create enemies with each other and having us be, divided as a nation and as society, by doing that, we're kind of easier to control in a way. It's kind of like I know I mentioned this a while ago, but it's kind of like the story of there's a science experiment, and there's like a big jar, and in the jar there's like a colony of black ants and a colony of red ants, and they're just living in the jar doing their thing, in this lab, and there's no issues whatsoever. They're just living in harmony, again, doing their thing, minding their business, just getting along just fine. And then the scientists who runs the experiment, what they do is they pick up the jar and they shake it. And what happens is the red ants think that the black ants shook the jar and created all this chaos. And the black ants think that the red ants, were the ones that shook the jar and started all this chaos. And so they start fighting each other and they start killing each other. And, there's total war and chaos going on in this jar now between the red ants and the black ants. When really, none of them did anything to, start this aggression. It was, the scientists outside of the jar who picked it up and shook it. So you kind of compare that to, say, the society that we live in today, where everyone's always just arguing and bickering and being all negative and really behaving not like how humans should behave with each other. And really, you have to ask yourself the question, we're fighting with each other all the time, but who actually shook the jar? But anyways, I feel like going back that, unfortunately, a nation and a society divided is easier to control. And that's why, everyone feels like who runs everything, they pit us against each other for that reason. So, we're easier to control, so they can stay in power and control us easier and more effectively. And I think that, say the bad things that we notice, or the wrong things that we notice, or the things that just shouldn't be there in our society and in our world and in our lives, it's there because we allow ourselves to be controlled by, listening to those who say that, we should be enemies with each other and disagree with and despise and I guess wish negative things for each other, who don't see the way that, we necessarily do. And I think that if we could get away from, hating each other, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I don't want to describe too much, but just, if we get away from hating each other and really just start to embrace, loving each other more, then I think we would be able to notice that, we're kind of under the thumb of all these powerful people. And once we stop, pitting against each other, and we start loving each other more, and we start becoming one more, we realize this, and we escape from under the thumb of those people, and we don't buy into their tricks and their games anymore of, them trying to set everything up to pit us against each other, so we can be controlled and fall right into their game and their scheme and whatnot. But just by loving each other, we see right through all that stuff and all that wrong, and we can stand against it and make things change for the better, and create a much better society and world, and really a much better humanity for ourselves, our loved ones, and everyone else who shares the same planet that we do. I think it all just starts with love and unity, and I think a good spot to end with this. But I think that's what we should really focus on in such a time of chaos and division, not only just within this country, but within this whole world as a whole, within these times that we find ourselves in. We really do have to rely on and fall back on and believe more in the power of love and unity. And I know that may sound all hippy dippy, but I think the more you think about it, the more that you might agree with me with that kind of stuff. But I'm gonna leave that there. Again, I know this call it whatever kind of video you want, but again, I think it's good, especially now today with all this stuff going on, to talk about, because again, I think there's a lot to realize and to think about and to learn from and to grow from. So of course, just remember that there's a lot more to you than you think, and just remember to love more and to embrace all being one more. As always, I hope you guys are doing well. And yeah, we'll talk more tomorrow. Bye.